Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's your boy Guttah.Trucker, and I'm back with another YouTube video. And this time, I am here to give an update on my US Express experience. So basically, this is like a 1 month review, right? So I'm with US Express. I'm on a dedicated lane with Whirlpool, which means I only pull freight from Whirlpool. And I'm only working the Southeast region, which means I do Georgia, which I'm based in Georgia, McDonough, Georgia. That's where the Whirlpool distribution center is. Georgia, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Mississippi, and Tennessee. Me personally, I've only been to South Carolina, Alabama, and I did one route in Tennessee. But we're gonna get into that in a minute. So first week of US Express orientation week was supposed to have been 3 days, but in my case, it ended up being 5 days. They paid $100 per day, so I ended up getting paid $500 for that week. They're very strict about the background checks. They do not want you coming in lying about nothing that happened in your background as far as work history, um, your previous home addresses. If you can remember, please get that to them accurately. It's not that mandatory, and it will not disqualify you, but the best thing is to be upfront about anything that happened in your background as far as your driving record, your criminal background, all that. They're kind of strict about it, you know what I'm saying? So it's best to just go ahead and tell them up front about anything that you have in your past, and that possibly could push your application forward in a smooth fashion. So because I had a friend, well, not really a friend, but like we was in school together, trucking school together, and he lied about his job history. They asked him, was he still employed with a company? He told them no. They had to go back and verify his employment. They found out that he didn't resign from his previous company, and they end up letting him go in the middle of orientation. So that's how strict they are about that. So first week was orientation. Not too much going on in orientation. They show you a few videos. You do your driving test, your bagging test. They do not do a pre-trip test, which was great for me because I kind of forgot my pre-trip, because when I was in school, it was one way. When I went to PAM Transport, it was one way. So I was like, damn, if they do the pre-trip, I'm hoping it's similar to those two, because, trying to remember two different ways of how to do pre-trip would have been kind of hard for me. So no pre-trip. It was smooth. It was at the terminal. Good thing for me, I only stayed like 30 minutes away, so I was able to drive there and back. The first 2 days is the main days. Like you really watching videos. The first day, filling out paperwork. The second day, you do your driving test, your bagging test, and the third day is really just a waiting game for them to hire you. Like when you're in orientation, you're not necessarily hired on with the company. You know, you don't know you're hired until they finish up the application process, and they are doing that during orientation, which is kind of weird for me, because I felt like once I was invited to orientation, I was hired on, and I had to find out that I wasn't. And you do not get paid that week unless you're hired on. So if you're there 5 days like I was, and they don't hire you, then you was just there for 5 days, which kind of sucked. But thank God I got hired on. So it was like 10 people in my class. I want to say like 6 of us actually got hired on. The other 4, unfortunately, they didn't get hired. Different cases. For or the reason why they didn't get hired, I don't know all of them, but like I said, the guy I went to school with, I know he didn't get hired because he wasn't truthful about his job history. So orientation for me was smooth. It was a breeze. Didn't have any problems. My first day, they didn't have a truck ready for me, so I had to fly to which was crazy. I had to fly to Memphis, Tennessee, and catch a Uber ride to Mississippi, which was like 20 minutes away from the airport. So that was kind of weird. But my flight, I had to do a layover flight from Georgia to Baltimore. I had to fly to Baltimore, wait for my flight to Memphis, Tennessee. Got to Memphis, Tennessee, waited at the airport for like 10 minutes to catch an Uber ride to Mississippi, which was only like 20 minutes away from the Memphis. Tennessee airport. That was kind of weird for me. So I get to my truck. It was an international. I don't know if y'all know anything about international, but international is not ideal if you plan on being over the road. Now, luckily for me, my dedicated route, I'm able to have like 6 hour turnarounds. I only had to sleep in the truck one time in a month. I only had to sleep in my truck one time. That was the ride to Tennessee. And that ride was 5.5 hours. So of course I wouldn't have had enough time to drive back home. So I had to sleep in the truck one time. I didn't like it because the truck just not ideal for overnight stay. So I really wasn't feeling that. I expressed that to them. If I'm gonna have to sleep in the truck, yeah, please work on give me another truck. They said, as you can see, you only have to sleep in the truck once out of a month. So they will retire the truck soon because it's a 2020 international. So they will retire the truck soon and put me in something a little more modern. So I'm kind of waiting on that. As long as I'm able to drive home, I'm cool with the international because it's actually a smooth riding truck. I just don't like staying in it. They don't have an APU system in it. The inverter wasn't working, so I wasn't able to plug up anything. Like it didn't have a refrigerator in it, so I had to buy my own refrigerator. Basically, I bought the refrigerator for nothing because once again, I don't sleep in the truck. So I spent $300 for nothing. So that refrigerator is gonna go use elsewhere. Um, Besides that, the routes, the lanes are smooth. They're smooth. My route, my lane is overnight driving. So I get to the yard anywhere in between 10:30 at night to 4 o'clock in the morning. Those are the pickup hours. If you get there at 10:30 at night, more than likely your drop would be like at 3 o'clock in the morning. If you get there at 4, if you schedule to pick up your load at 4 o'clock in the morning, then your drop will be like 10 o'clock in the morning. Like they give you like a 2-3 hour window to get there in time. You know what I'm saying? Because anything can happen. Traffic breakdown, anything can happen, which is ideal. But me, I always get to the yard early and I always get to my drop early so I can take a nap. Because driving there overnight, I'm cool with. But when I have to drive back, that's when I start getting sleepy. So I always get there like 3 hours early so I can take me a 3 hour nap. And by the time I take the 3 hour nap, my appointment time, they unload me. All of my unloads have been under an hour, which is great. I'm not sitting at nobody warehouse that long. I've never been to a warehouse where they took longer than an hour to unload me. I've always been unloaded under an hour. It could be 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm always back on the road in a timely manner. So everything been going smooth for me. The communication is dope. They don't hassle you. That's the biggest thing. They do not hassle you. Like once they give you your load, okay, this is how the load process work with that. They will call you anywhere between 8 o'clock in the morning to like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you do not receive a call between 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., in my case, then you're on standby, which means you basically get paid to be off. It's like a layover. Like you get paid to be off. So it's like if they do not call you, they don't have a load for you, but you still get paid for that day. That's where the true up pay comes into play. The true up pay makes sure that you are covered. You get no less than a certain amount of dollars at the end of the week because a dedicated lane isn't based on miles. They're based on the base pay. And when you're on dedicated, you're not going to get that many miles, not with this lane that I'm on. So the true up pay comes in perfect for me. And on top of that, in order to get your true up pay, you have to be available. If they call you and say, hey, listen, we got a load for you to go here, and you say, nah, I don't want to do that load, or no, I'm not going out tonight, then whatever miles that you ran for that week, those are the miles you're paid for. And trust me, it's not going to be a lot of miles. It's going to be, I'll say like 1,200 and under. The most miles I done got in a week is like 1,500. So on average, you may get 8 to 1,200 miles average a week. So if you're not available and you only get 8 to 1,200 miles a week, I mean, you pretty much know what your check gonna be like. So I'm always available. like I said, the loads are easy. The transition from the pickup to the drop off is very, very smooth. I have had no issues over the road. I had no issues with the truck. I had battery issues with the truck, but once again, I wasn't stuck nowhere. I was always at a yard when I had the battery issues. So with US Express, I can honestly say they care about the drivers. If you have any questions, any concerns, they pick up the phone every single time. And if you need to come in and talk to them, you have access to come into the distribution center. They are at the Whirlpool distribution center. They have an office there. So I can easily just drop off the truck at the yard, jump in my car and go home. Or if I want to stay in the truck and sleep in the truck, which I would not do, you can also do that as well. Say you sell some gas money. So to me, US Express so far has been very, very pleasing to me. Remind you, I only been trucking for what, 5 months now. I did 4 months with Pam Transport, which was terrible. And I just did 1 month with US Express. And I've made more than 1 month with US Express total than I probably did 2-3 months with Pam Transport. That's how bad the pay was. They had it was bad. We ain't gonna even talk about that. So moving forward with US Express, I feel like I can finish out my year experience with them because the pay is consistent, the loads are consistent, and once again, even if they don't have a load for you, you still get the base pay, which to me it fits my living arrangement. But for right now, to continue getting my 1 year experience to where I can decide where I really want to go and really make the money and really get my endorsements, my hazmat tanker endorsements, to where I got my hazmat, my tanker endorsements, and I have a year experience under my belt, I pretty much can pick wherever I want to go. So that's the plan for me. So I'm 5 months in now. I have 7 months to go. I feel like with US Express, it'll be a breeze because this 1 month was a super breeze for me. I have zero complaints. I don't have any complaints for y'all. If y'all jumped on this video looking for any complaints, I literally don't have not one complaint. I'm trying to think of a complaint right now that I can complain about, and I don't have one. Whatever they tell you your lane is, that's what your lane is. There's no hidden agenda. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing that they're trying to finesse you into. They're literally telling you this is what you're going to be doing day in and day out. And they're not going to call you no more about it. I have yet to get a load and be hassled about it. Not one time. They give you the time on your app. They have an app that works great for me. Once they call you in the morning and they tell you what your load is, they send you the pre-plan on the app. So you know where you going, you know the miles, you know the hours, you know the time. So for me, I've been consistently going to the same places. I don't went to like 3 different places, but on the regular, I'm going to the same places. So I already know what to do when I get there. I already know what dock to bag into. I already know what time they're going to start unloading me. I already know if I can get there early and they're going to accept me early, or if I have to wait until my appointed time. I already know. I'm so used to it now. Once they call and just tell me the state I'm going to, I ain't got to hear nothing else. I already know where I'm going, how many miles it is, how long it's going to take me. I know how to pre-plan for it. I know what to pack for snacks and lunch or whatever I have to do. It's an overnight drive. I know the highways to take, the highways not to take. I know when it could possibly be traffic. I know where roads have construction. When it's consistent like that, it makes it a lot better. So with US Express, I can honestly say their biggest key point to me is consistency. The pay is consistent, the loads are consistent, and the routes are consistent. Now, I just want a different truck because I do not like the international truck. That's all. That's just me being picky. The international ride very, very smooth. It rides very, very smooth. Like, I have no complaints about the way it rides. I just don't like the international inside. I just don't like the inside of it. I was loving the Peterbilt and the Freightliner. I came in from Freightliners and Peterbilt, so I got used to those. So getting the international, I'm like, damn, I don't like this. No refrigerator, no microwave, no nothing. I don't like it. So if you want to look for a complaint, that's my only complaint. I want to be in a freight line or a Peterbilt. But other than that, US Express have been very dope. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. And remind you, I'm new. So they not paying me to say anything. If you watch my Pam Transport videos, like I told you, I don't speak negative on no company, but I will tell you my experience. And my experience with US Express have been a great experience. I haven't had not one bad trailer. That's like the biggest key part for me. Is like, damn, with Pam Transport, every trailer was terrible. I haven't had not one bad trailer. I'm still waiting to run into a bad trailer with US Express. Oh, this is another thing. This is how I know it'll be rare that you run into a bad trailer with them. They have a certain parking lot in different terminals and distribution centers that they are staged in, that you have to, if you have a bad trailer, you do not put it back into an area where they will load that bad trailer. You have to put it into a whole different parking area to where they fix the trailer and then they bring it back to be loaded. If you have a bad trailer, you just take it to that one. That way, nobody has to worry about loading that trailer. Nobody has to worry about dealing with it and picking it up. So this video gonna be kind of short, and I'm happy that it's kind of short because I didn't want to be rambling on about a bunch of nothing. So I just want to say, if you plan on coming to US Express, one, make sure that you have your background, your job history, your criminal. Make sure you have all that in order, and please present that to them. You don't have to lie. They're looking for drivers. They have a lot of dedicated OTR. They have a lot of jobs available. You don't have to lie, because they gonna go back and verify it anyway. So tell them straight up, because that's what I did. Tell them straight up what's going on with you, what your situation is, and I guarantee they will work with you. That's one. For two, I don't know what their OTR process is like. I'm not OTR. I'm dedicated OTR. Like, I'm not fully OTR. I'm dedicated OTR. But like I said, it was a couple people in my orientation class, and they loving their OTR. They saying that the miles are consistent, the pay is great. So I'm just going off what they say. But if you coming into a dedicated lane, I'm on Whirlpool. I heard they got like a Family Dollar. They had a PetSmart. It's a dedicated. I'm on a PetSmart waiting list. I'm trying to get on that PetSmart dedicated lane. It pays like a couple $100 more than what I'm getting paid now, which I'm satisfied with. I'm getting paid now, but it's always good to make extra money. So I'm on a waiting list for that. And that's another thing. If you want to bump up into another lane, you want to go to OTR, you want to try another dedicated lane, you can do that. Like, you actually can do that. You could just call them. I sent them an email, and within 20 minutes, they called me and was like, okay, what are you interested in? We'll let you know what we have open. And they had one open. I forgot the name of the account, and it was paying, I could tell y'all this. It was paying $17.50 true up pay. Like, that's the base pay. You're guaranteed $17.50 a week, right? The only thing was that the region it was in, it was more like the Northeast region. And I'm so spoiled with coming home every day, I turned it down to continue to come home every day because, like I said, I don't have a problem with what I'm getting paid. The $17.50 would have been nice, but I'm like, damn, I'm gonna have to sleep in this international truck, and I don't want to. So I felt like once they put me in a freight line or a Peterbilt, something that I don't mind spending the night in, I probably would request that dedicated lane again, and see how that works out. And this the beauty of it. If it doesn't work out, you can always request to go back to the lane that you was in. Only thing is, if the lanes are filled, the spots are filled, you have to be on the waiting list. And once you're on the waiting list, you don't know how long you'll be on the waiting list. You don't know how long the wait is. So if somebody just having to leave and go do OTR, they will call you and let you know, hey, look, there's a spot for you here. If you still interested, let us know. You let them know, you can get that spot. So hopefully that's enough information for y'all. Hopefully it helps y'all and anyone inquiring to come into US Express. Me personally, I recommend it. If you're out of school, if you're still new, if you're still under a year of experience, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Try US Express. I done heard people say it's not for them. I don't know their reasons. I'm not the type to go off somebody else experience and feel like that'll be mine, I go off my own experience. And however I feel about it is however I feel about it. So I'm saying if you want to come to US Express, this is my experience. I don't know what your experience is. I'm with the Whirlpool account. I love the region that it's in. I love the miles that comes with it because I'm able to do a 6-hour turnaround, 3 hours there, 3 hours back to the crib. I'm always back at home. If I leave out 10 between 10 and 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm always back home between 10 and 12 morning or afternoon the next day. If I go out later, I'll get back home no later than 2 p.m. the next day. I'm always back at home. I love coming home. So, that's my 1 month review with US Express. Hope you guys find this information informative. I hope you find it helpful. This is another thing. Don't believe nothing the recruiters say. Wait till you get the orientation and ask the real questions. Recruiters gonna tell you whatever they want to tell you to get you in the building. Once you get the orientation, ask those questions again. They will give you the real rundown. Once I got the real rundown, I was satisfied with what I was applying for. So appreciate y'all stopping by. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, and get me to 1,000 subscribers. Once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I will start being a lot more transparent with my pay. Yeah, that's it. I'll see y'all later.